the Hot Seat with Priscilla. It is your favorite day of the week, obviously, because it is Wednesday and we are here live in the studio at Social Media Shows. It is getting a lot warmer in Las Vegas, which I am so happy about because I love the sun, I love the summer, and the winter has lasted way too long. Anyways, I hope you had a great week. I know it's been really sad because you only see me once a week. But today we are going to have an amazing show. So far, we have one of my friends here. Now, he's going to be an amazing guest. We have a lot to talk about with him. He does so many things in Las Vegas, and I'm completely honored that he is going to be on this show. If you guys stay tuned after the break, you're going to probably recognize him because he's been around Las Vegas doing everything under the sun. And every time I go to a important event, of course, he's always there. So make sure to stay tuned to see who our special guest of the day is. And I'll see you after the break on the Hot Seat.
I can already feel you judging me, and not for what I've done in the past, but for what I'm about to do. I had what mattered, and I got careless. Like, I don't deserve more. I don't deserve sympathy. I don't deserve to be here.
Where the hell are you? Why aren't you answering your phone?
Jenna! What is the matter with you?
Someone once told me, you may not be everybody's cup of tea, but you're somebody's shot of whiskey.
Excuse me, ma'am. My car ran out of gas and I left my wallet at home. Could you please spare a couple dollars so I can refuel my vehicle?
I literally have nothing.
What's it gonna take to get you to join the program?
Get about the dog! If Jesus wanted you to have a dog, he would have blessed you with a bowl and a leash now, wouldn't he?
Social Media Shows is a production company based here in Las Vegas, Nevada. We offer these services. We've been streaming shows live in real time for over 4 years on major social media platforms and also on our website socialmediashows.com. And we are now on Roku TV. We welcome you to have your own show on our TV network. Call us 651-955-8743 or email us at admin@socialmediashows.com.
Welcome back to the Hot Seat with Priscilla. I am your host, Priscilla Moy, and as always, I come to you live from Las Vegas every Wednesday at 3 p.m. here at Social Media Shows. Every week I have the best guests, and today is nothing short of that, obviously. Now, he is originally from Cuba, and he has history in martial arts and theater, but when I met him, have known him as this amazing dancer, amazing model, and actor, and basically biggest performer in Las Vegas. Everyone, please welcome Antonio Granda. Hi, honey. Oh, you always make me feel so short. Please take a seat on the hot seat. Welcome.
This is the hot seat?
This is the hot seat. You might want to wave the jacket. It's getting hot in here. Ooh. Well, the amazing part is that Antonio came as planned as a professional, and he's here, and he's going to be our first guest today, and we're going to give you as much time as possible. So, to start off with, you are originally from Cuba.
Havana.
Yes. Ooh. So please tell us a little about your start, because you started there, but I know you moved multiple times, and you started in theater.
Yes. Well, my very beginnings were kindergarten. That's where I ever did anything, artistic. I started with theater. I moved on to singing pretty much around 8 years old.
Mm-hmm.
after that, things happened, you know, life, family. I started doing martial arts, which was an outlet for me to kind of guide that this energy, you know, teenage energy that was going on back at the time, and it helped me a lot with discipline and consistency. Um, so that was a very good times, very good years of learning, growing, centering myself, balancing energy, like I mentioned. After that, I mean, years passed, obviously, and I moved to Istanbul, Turkey, and that's where everything pretty much started when it comes to the artistic professional life.
Wow. See, that's one thing that I learned about you that was so shocking was I didn't know how big and prevalent you were in martial arts because like you're this amazing dancer. You have a build of a dancer. You're technically amazing. Like I see stills of you. If you look up online, you'll see them. So the martial arts, and you've won awards, right? And you also can teach, correct? And that's
Correct.
kind of in the beginning
Correct.
stages.
I kind of forgot if I sent that information over to you.
I was like, oh my god, this is a new Antonio. What
like,
are we
how
doing
does she
here?
know all this stuff? But yeah, you are absolutely right. I pretty much started teaching when I was about 13, 14 years old. I started very, very early. I was a student when I started teaching students. So you see how. So pretty much, I mean, I've always considered myself quite a mature person, even though I was very young. Like I've always had a old soul, as people say. And I've always enjoyed kids and teaching the that experience and that dynamic between the student and the parents and the teacher. It's a very beautiful dynamic. I think when you teach, other people get inspired and they look up to you very highly just because you're transmitting something that is going to be worth for that person's life pretty much forever. It's gonna stay with them forever. So yeah, I started teaching around that age, and then again, life happens.
Right.
I moved to Istanbul, and over there, it's when I pretty much became more of a coach because out there, the level of martial arts, specifically Kung Fu, which is what I did back in Cuba, where I became a national team member. I mean, for me, the level was already way up there. But once I get to Istanbul, I realized that I was way above many, many athletes out there. So I became a coach very quickly. They saw my potential, my talent, and the knowledge that I had. And I became coach, instructor, master teacher, let's say it that way, for several sports centers, schools. And several of my students actually won medals thanks to the training that I gave them. So that's something I can highly say and tell people that I'm very, very proud of.
Yeah, that is something you're proud of. So how did dance come into play?
Whew, that's an interesting question because I was pretty much I was going through very personal things, deep personal things. I was not very motivated and happy. I was teaching other people, but I felt like I wasn't doing anything for myself. So that's when I decided to do something different, do something fun, to enjoy myself. I remember seeing this dance competition on the Turkish TV, and funny thing is that the sports center where I used to teach at, this friend of mine knew a choreographer that was actually had a team for this competition that was showcasing on TV. She introduced her to me, and this person, her name is Sanem Demirkaya, which I owe so much for when it comes to my dancing career. She brought me into the practice sessions and just told me to follow along. Let's see how you do.
Mm-hmm.
And by the end of the training session, she was very, very impressed. She took me in right away, and that's pretty much how everything started.
Yeah, because you were just naturally gifted, because that wasn't, apart from your little theater thing, main point was for you was the martial arts training.
I think it all happened naturally, you know. Since I'm from Cuba, which is a place where dance, music, you know, the arts are just everywhere.
Yeah.
I think I already had that in my blood. Besides, my mother is also a professional singer. I'm also a singer because of her. So I think it was already there. And, you know, starting with theater and then singing and then dropping singing and then doing martial arts, I feel like I left the arts a little on the side to do martial arts, but at the same time, kung fu, wushu can be so artistic as well because you perform, you know, very, very difficult routines, which are extremely physically demanding. But at the same time, you have to perform with along music.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't think I ever left the arts, you know, completely on the side. I think it was just a different line of a different artistic line, I would say. So I think that was for me a preparation to get into dancing. I think it's just like I said, it just happened.
Everything bleeds into one another, and then you kind of just found some new love that you had that pushed you into something else.
Exactly.
So as far as the type of dancing, did you find the how do I say, the transition pretty simple when it came to a certain style? Was there one that you're stronger in than another, like contemporary, jazz, modern?
I think that, for instance, Tai Chi gave me the ability to be softer, to be more vulnerable, and pretty much portrayed that other side of me that most people don't get to showcase when even when they're dancing. You know, some people are more hip hop dancers or break dancers or, you know, bone breaking dancers. They're not as vulnerable as contemporary dancers.
Right.
They're more open. Their lines.
They tell a story
moves.
with their body.
Correct.
Yeah.
But still, it can be read the same.
Mm-hmm.
It's a little bit complicated to explain for people that are not dancers or performers like us. But everything relates, I think. But yeah, Tai Chi allowed me to do that. But also Taolu, which is Chanchuan, Nanchuan, which are more external categories, they allow me to be stronger and, let's say, hit harder the moves. You know, something I did struggle with was slowing down, slowing down and pausing and being a bit less aggressive. Martial arts, obviously, it's all about defending and attacking, so it's a bit more aggressive. But when it comes to dancing, sometimes you have to be aggressive or not, vulnerable, softer,
Have the
this, that.
control
So
with those
yeah,
things.
there's a balance that you have to learn how to keep throughout the routine. So yeah.
Because what's so interesting about you is that you speak a lot with your body, which shows kind of that type of training in the past. Because I know, like, your natural presence, I remember when I first met you, you seemed more reserved. But even though you're a performer, you speak a lot when you perform. It's very strong. There's a lot of expressions. But, like, as a person, I wouldn't say that if you walk in the room, like, you're the loudest person there, or you're, like, doing the most that the stereotype would be, especially a performer in Vegas. So you can kind of see the balance in how the obedience and all of that coming from the martial arts, but you put all the expression in what you're doing and your awareness here, which is what I think makes you a great dancer and why it helped you technically, because you have the ability to speak through movement and fluidity, which a lot of people, it's very hard for people to do, right? To use their space, use your whole body. So in that aspect, I think that's what really made you soar. So how did you go from, you went from Turkey and then you went to Las Vegas, correct?
No.
What's the story there?
Here's the tea.
Okay, here's
I'm
the
gonna
tea.
give you the tea right now. I was part of the biggest dance company in Turkey. It's called. It still exists. It's a Guinness Award dance company. It's called Fire of Anatolia. In Turkish would be Anadolu Ateşi. It means fire of Anatolia. And we used to tour literally all around Turkey and the world. It took me some time to decide that I was going to move to the United States, especially because I already had a life back in Turkey. I was a soloist in that dance company. I had a very good position. But I thought at some point that I needed more. I needed to grow more. I needed to learn more. I needed to push myself to a higher level of professionalism in my career. So I decided to just drop everything and come here. I actually moved on my own to New York City. I had no job. All I had was just money in my pocket, and I just did it. I just went for it. Obviously, I was quite scared. You know, the not knowing, it can be terrifying. But I remember just telling myself, be brave, just do it, just go for it. You've done it your entire life. You work it out, you make it work.
Yeah.
So that's where I went to when I just first moved here to the USA. And then eventually I traveled to other states in this country, and finally it's quite ironic because I actually visited Vegas about 2 or 3 times before I moved here, and my plans were never to move to Las Vegas. It was not the place that I wanted to land on, but again, life happens,
Right.
and I just ended up being here.
Yeah, and you've done how many shows when you did come here, right?
I didn't actually do quite a lot of shows. I've done a few. My first show was Divas by Frank Marino. It was a celebrity female impersonating show. It was a very, very fun show. And I think also because of what I was going through personally in that moment, it helped me a lot to, again, channel that energy into the arts and let go of what I was feeling at the moment, which was pretty much heartbreak. So I have to be extremely grateful for that opportunity and for the few people that actually helped me to get there. Yeah, that's one of them. And then after Divas, I pretty much, I mean, once you get into a show, every performer that has the opportunity to come see the show sees you, notices you, and after that, I just started gigging with several agencies and companies here in town. I think I can't recall. I've done so much. I'm sorry.
No, that's good. That's
I've done so much. It's hard to remember. Okay, what did I do after that and after that?
Yeah, I mean, it's a good thing because what I want to pinpoint is and go to. So you've done all of this in Vegas, and it kind of made you, I think, own up to the fact that you're a professional performer in the arts, and you've had a lot of experience with what it's like being a performer working gig to gig. And where I want to go with this is because what I respect you for is what I've seen is that you're also very vocal on the rights you guys have as performers and just gigging. And a lot of people don't talk about those things. Everything's always fluffy cotton candy. When I have people on the show, they talk about like, oh, I've done this, this, that, and the third. But like, no one talks about. I mean, maybe they haven't experienced it, but when you're really in it and you know a lot of people and you are actually considered a professional, then you've experienced things that you won't withstand, basically, the disrespect and the injustices.
Correct.
So if you're comfortable, would you like highlight a little bit about what that means to you to kind of notice these things and stand up for people who also do what you do?
So earlier in the day, obviously I knew I was going to come to the show and I was going to be here with you. And I always check where I'm going, who I'm gonna be with. Pretty much I research a little bit, and I saw your post on your story, and I can say that I relate to you so much. First of all, I respect you so much because I think we have this thing in common, which is going out there and just make it happen. I think I told you that last time I saw you at WPPI, and yeah, when it comes to things that most people don't talk about in the industry, when it comes to dancers, models, acrobats, singers, whatever the line of work is, there are certain things that are not very pretty to say and acknowledge. And I'm one of those people, just like you, that are not going to stand them and that I'm going to be definitely vocal about it. Always politically correct and as academically correct possible, and in a very educated way, um, to basically let people know that something that just happened or something that was said, it's not okay. I feel like a lot of performers don't prefer to not say anything because they want to keep booking the jobs. They want to keep earning that income. Um, but one thing is working for the money, the other is working for your art and for what you stand for and your values and your standards and your morals. And that's something I respect about you so much. I relate to you because of it. And I think no matter what, you should always stay truthful to yourself and your art and what you stand for. Yes. So, I wouldn't like to get into details. There's a lot of things that we could talk about.
Right. I just know that with dancers in particular, even with their agencies, they're put in positions, and as athletes, right, you need to be in a safe environment. And I've just seen a lot of Florida professional dancers, even big ones that work on music videos, and there's just a lot of disrespect and unprofessionalism when it comes to the dance community.
I see it all the time online. I see posts and stories and just stories that happened. They happen. They exist. And
big sets with big people.
Correct. Yeah. And for regular people, I call regular people to the ones that are not in the industry because obviously they don't know.
Yeah.
But this could be, your family, my family, a cousin, a friend, whoever doesn't really know anything about our line of work and what we have to go through sometimes, in auditions, in a show, in a job, whatever it is, that, sometimes it isn't as pretty and joyful and beautiful as people think. And for us to, be in that spot, it takes sometimes a lot.
Yes. And then people will walk over you if you don't say something. So it's kind of like a double-edged sword. You speak up and you stay in your place, but you could also get a lot of backlash for it. But at the same time, you're kind of like, but that's not me. I'm not someone that can just be walked over and then just...
I feel like in the past, I used to be way more verbal, and I would react to the whatever situation right away. I think I've learned now to take a step back and think about, okay, what just happened? How can I manage the situation?
Yeah. And then let me gather the story. Let me look at this and then not talk with emotions. It's more of gathering and then speaking about it in a very to the point
It's
way.
Controlling your emotions pretty much.
Yeah, and we all go through it. Yeah. So now when I met you, I think it was mostly through doing some stuff on films, on movies, right?
Yeah.
And so is that another avenue that you're trying to get into, is also get into the film acting, television acting, camera work?
Certainly, yes. I actually recently started taking very, very, very seriously acting classes. I have been going for the past weeks now. And I'm feeling very, very motivated and very happy.
Yeah.
I think every time in my life, in my career, every time I've tried to do something new and go go for something I've never done before and something I'm very passionate at, I've pretty much succeed. You know, some people consider success as, you know, going to Hollywood and being part of a huge movie.
Yeah.
I don't think that's success for me, because you could still go and do a huge movie but still be personally unsatisfied or unhappy or struggle with whatever you could be struggling with. And I mean, we see true stories every day on the news, on social media. We see it every day. We know what happened actually not too long ago to a very, very famous entertainer, dancer. You know, I don't want to mention names, but we all know what happened with him, and it's extremely sad to think that someone for the public eye could be so majorly successful and still be at a point where he had to take his life. So that's something that we all, I think, need to, again, take a step back and think about, and pretty much look at your what's going on in your life, what makes you happy, what doesn't, what you stand for.
Exactly.
Are you doing what you truly like? Are you in a place where you're happy, where you're comfortable? What you need to consider a lot of things about yourself and your surroundings in order to say, okay, I've made it, I'm successful, or not.
Yeah.
So I think that when you have come to a place where, in my opinion, where you never even thought that you could be in, and now you're living this pretty much dream, and it's just, it brings you joy, it brings you just so much, this energy of this fulfillment. I think that's the right word. I think that's when you have succeed.
Yeah, because when you can sit here and call yourself that thing and know that that's your full-time job and that's how you present yourself, that's where you meet success. But we're always trying to search for the next job, because so we don't live in the moment and realize how far we have come, because we're not where we want to be.
Yeah,
right.
We're always rushing and rushing,
we're trying to be there,
trying to,
right? Because we're getting tired of all these injustices, right? But it's all part of the journey. And the good thing is, you can spot the ones that will make it because they continue to go. And I don't know them outside of doing that one thing, and they're consistent.
Correct. And no matter what you do, I mean, life is hard. Life is unfair. Again, we see it all the time, every day. And no matter how hard it gets, you have to keep going. You have to keep doing what you're doing.
Yeah.
There will be always bumps on the road, but you just have to stay consistent, just like martial arts taught me.
And see, there you go. And that's discipline is a very important thing to teach young kids, discipline and work ethic, because that will take you farther than anything else.
Right.
And so the biggest thing that I think I take away is when I look at someone and ask them, like, why do you want to do insert job here? Right? When people ask me advice. And then they don't know the answer. And I think that's where people will never find success or happiness, because they want it for the wrong reasons, whether it's modeling, acting, dancing. And so if I ask you, like, why do you want to be, I'm going to use artists because you are an art in all form.
Correct.
What would you say to our audience?
Would you be a little bit more specific
So,
when it comes to...
If I just met you,
okay.
I'm going to pretend I don't know.
Okay.
As I try to do with every interview, I pretend I don't know. I just know what's on paper. And I'm like, hi. So I'm like, you're a performer, you're a dancer.
Yeah, I am.
Why this? What's your end goal, and why is that your goal?
Interesting question. Thank you very much. I think that's a hard question, because I could give the easy answer to you, which is because I love it.
Right.
But I think it's way deeper than that. I think it's all about who you are as a person, as a human being, spiritually, emotionally, mentally. I mean, in all kinds of levels. I think that it's just your spirit. That's what you enjoy. That's what you live for. That's what what makes you happy every single day of your life. That's what will keep you going, even when you have bumps on the road. There's no way to say, okay, I'm done with this. I've come to a point where I've found myself kind of stuck, I would say, or maybe burned out, if that's the word. You know, uh, where you have to kind of, okay, think about, okay, what am I doing with my life? Is this the right thing for me? But then you get booked for whatever job, and then you remember
Yeah.
why you fell in love with it for the first time in the first place. So,
So what does the end goal look like for you? Do you
end goal.
Yes.
Whew, I don't think I'm personally trying to pursue being the dancer of the world anymore or the best dancer. I think that's a skill I already possess and I definitely want to use in my career. But I think I'm at a point where I want to be more of um, I want to use my image in the acting filming industry.
Okay.
I think I have potential
Mm-hmm.
in it, and that's what I'm currently pursuing.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I've always when I have been part of interviews like work job interviews, and they ask me kind of the same question, I always say as far as it can get me,
Mm-hmm.
as far as I can go.
Yeah.
I don't really know, because sometimes your expectations can disappoint you majorly, and that could lead to just drop it.
Yeah.
I'm done.
And you also don't want to look that big in front of someone you just might be like, I'm trying to be a star, right? Like you don't want to give the wrong impression of who you are as a person.
I mean, I think we all artists, dancers, models, singers, whatever, we are all stars. We know it.
Mm-hmm.
We're all amazing. We're all beautiful. We know it. It's there. When it comes to making it to the big screen, that's a whole different level that I think that some people work very, very hard for it. Some others just naturally have it.
Yeah.
And it's just naturally happens.
Or people don't want it. That's not everyone's dream. You know, they love doing whatever they're doing locally or, right? So the good thing is not everyone has that big star A-lister dream.
Correct.
But then not everyone who does have that actually knows what it means to have that.
Correct.
Or they don't want it for the right reasons.
Correct.
You know, I love getting deep with you. I know I'm not going to make this easy for you. So what's good about you is that are you bilingual, trilingual? Trilingual. So would you ever consider, because I think what makes you marketable in many ways, not only do you have the leading men look, is that you can also do things in different types of films abroad, or even films that are kind of about in a cultural aspect and be able to speak the language and have kind of a foot in the door. Is that something that you are possibly thinking about?
Yes, definitely. It is extremely hard to, let's say, play a character in Chinese or, I don't know, Indian.
Right.
Or even Spanish. I mean, Spanish is my native language, but, I've lived already half my life, and half of it has been abroad. So I've had to learn Turkish. I mean, I lived in Istanbul, Turkey, so I had to learn to be able to not only go in life and survive pretty much, but also to teach other people in their language. I already knew English, but at the same time, it wasn't at the level that I have right now, where I can speak fluently and very comfortably.
Yeah.
So
American English.
American English, correct. Right. So it's definitely a challenge. And right now, for example, in acting classes, our teacher, she makes us, for instance, in our last class, we had to do voiceover. So imagine doing a different voice. Hi, Priscilla, how are you? And playing a 12-year-old boy, being from Cuba, speaking in English, and also doing a different voice. It's challenging, definitely challenging. But
it's good for you.
It's very good. Yeah, exactly. I've always, even back in Turkey, I remember going into my creative spaces, you know, being in my room and just letting my creative brain unravel and just thinking, I want to make songs. I want to write songs in Turkish and Spanish. I don't want to lose my entity and my culture, but I also want the Turkish people to understand me.
Yeah.
And I want them to vibe with me, just like with English.
Yeah.
I think, for instance, there are artists now that do Spanglish songs, and I love it. Back in the day when I was still, you know, in my little room trying to create all these things in Spanish and Turkish, I mean, years later, here we have all these people doing the same thing in different languages. So the only thing I kind of regret a little bit is that I wish I went for it instead of just locking myself in and doing this thing that was just for me and nobody else could see it because I was too kind of, you know, embarrassed.
You were ahead of your time. And now
Maybe
you're like, oh man, because now
I should have done it.
Spanish, just everyone's integrating different cultures to introduce different types of music. You know, you see that with K-pop, you see that with J-pop, you see that, you know, with a lot of Latin artists. You know, they integrate a lot of English in there so that way they can relate in Western countries so that they can bring that over, which I think is amazing. Right. Because nothing should be segregated. I feel like everyone should enjoy and celebrate everyone else who's different from you. Right. So one last question before we go. And normally I ask this question for all my guests, and it's always a deep one because they're just like, oh, I don't know what to say. But is there a philosophy that you live by?
Oh, I love that.
Yeah, I think every answer sums up the person sitting in the chair. Because every time they give me an answer, I'm like, yep, that sums up the interview.
Wow. I thought of other things, but I didn't think of you asking me this question. Wow, my philosophy of life. That's interesting because I was just having a conversation just the other day with someone, and I think I mentioned that exact same phrase. I said, that's my philosophy of life. What is it? I can't remember at the moment. But I think it was, right now I can just tell you that you have to love yourself.
Yes.
You have to love yourself in order to accept yourself and live a full life. And if you're an artist, that's the only way you can showcase that artistry onto the world. And no matter what, stand by it. Stay strong with it. That's your art. No matter what other people say, stay stuck with it. Not stuck, but more like stay with it and respect it. Respect yourself more than anything. Love yourself more than anything. And keep loving others no matter the hate they throw at you.
Yeah.
Hate equals love. I don't know if you know that. But hate is basically another level of love. It's so much love that at some point it becomes, that's why when in a relationship with two people break up, it becomes kind of hate. Not everybody, it doesn't happen with everybody, but it's so much love, it can easily turn into hate. So, no, you know, everybody says, the haters. Okay, let the haters hate. It's all good. You just keep spreading love.
Yeah, I love that. Well, Antonio Granda, everyone. See, that answer summed up his whole interview. It sums him up as a person. And I love, like I said before, I love asking that question because it shows in one question and one answer your whole purpose of why you're sitting here, why you're doing what you're doing, what got you into this chair. So we appreciate you. Thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you for having me.
Yes, I would love to have you back on when you have something big coming, because I know that you're here, there, everywhere, doing things. He got his mains, so you're like taking a little athletic break.
And you too. I see you.
Oh, well. Well, anyway, everyone, please, if you want to tell them like where they can follow you at.
Facebook, which I don't really use that very much
It's your
anymore.
Instagram.
It's still there, Antonio Granda Manzano. And then the one that I use the most is Instagram. Everybody loves Instagram, and everybody uses Instagram. It's Antonio Granda low underscore. There you go. And then the same for TikTok. My Instagram is the one that I showcasing more of my work and my lifestyle things here and there. But my TikTok is the fun one. That's the one I'm going out all for it. It's silly, it's stupid.
Yeah.
Just have fun with it.
That's TikTok for you. It's
That's
one of those things I don't do. But everyone, please follow him. Please keep up with him. Please reach out to him. Anyone that has gigs, he's everything: acting, modeling, dancing, singing. Even though I've yet to hear you sing, boo. But whatever, I'm sure he's open for it. I mean, you're a hard worker, so I'm sure you're a good researcher, so you would look into it. So please, please, please consider him. He's amazing, a very kind soul, very loving soul, very professional. So everyone, Antonio Granda, thank you again for coming to the Hot Seat with Priscilla. And when we come back, I have a few announcements to make, so never, never, never miss the goodbyes of the Hot Seat. So stay tuned.
Hello, everyone. This is Joseph Skoda with Social Media Shows. Well, I thank all of you for your support through these last several years, and it's been a lot of fun. We've given people a voice they never had before. Now, Social Media Shows is always collaborating with our veterans to help them do things and help out the veterans who are struggling today. And we teamed up with GI Connections, connecting veterans with resources. So please consider helping and donating to this great cause, because we're always doing things for veterans. So GI Connections, Social Media Shows, and you is what makes the world a better place. Once again, Joseph Skoda, proud United States Air Force veteran.
Welcome to Social Media Shows. Have you been watching social media shows recently? Of course you have. We have been live streaming for 4 years across social media platforms. We produce over 70 shows with over 1,000 episodes. In the process, we've helped over 100 creators realize their dreams and start their own show. We give platforms to promote your business. If you are an artist, if you have an event, if you are entrepreneurs, or if you have a story. If you haven't done it yet, go ahead and subscribe and follow us on major social media platforms. And if you have a great idea of a show, join us. Social media shows can help you produce and live stream your own show. Let us help you make your dream become a reality.
Hi guys, and welcome back to the Hot Seat with Priscilla. As always, I'm your host, Priscilla Moy, and I really hope that you enjoyed today's show. We had a very intimate show, which is amazing because Antonio was here. He came. Our other two guests, unfortunately, did not come. Apparently, they got busy, but, we're not going to stress or anything like that. But Antonio is amazing. He's so interesting because as you can see, his demeanor is just so reserved and very disciplined, but what he does, and when I met him as a performer and being on sets, you can see it, the flip, right? And I think that's what makes a true artist, is because he's very grounded, he's very humble, he's very all of these things where it kind of confuses you a little bit. You're like, oh my God, like I've seen you on stage, I've seen you, I've seen you do all of these things, but, here you are, like you're just a really, really, really great guy. So, as you can see, there's a couple little things that are new. First, my hair. Obviously, as you guys can see, I've done a little, I was really inspired by a lot of, Japanese and Korean artists, and they have kind of these bangs. So I really wanted to chop my hair off, but I was like, I can't do it, right? I was like, posting the stories, I'm like, should I do it, should I not? Because I vowed I'd never have, like, a bob again, but I was like, maybe I can make it high fashion, right? But I was like, no, I need to do something. So I just, snipped a chop of my hair off, and so I have... Anyway, moving on to the next thing. I mean, all of these announcements are just because I'm about to have fun right now because we don't have any other guests. And because something's happened today and you might as well, it's the hot seat with Priscilla, so you might as well be updated with Priscilla, right? And I want to show you guys my socks. So I'm going to step on this little apple box and show you if we can all see. Do we see? Do we see it? Do we? Oh, I see myself. I'm so weird. But anyway, so I decided to wear these socks. So I want to read you guys a little something that I received today. And I want to give a shout out to this person because it's amazing. Now, like Antonio and I were talking about, and it's great that we talked about this because we talked about haters, we talked about how much love turns into hate, and we talk about how we never want to react too quick, but at the same time make it known that these things are happening because no, you can't just be doing these things, very injustice, very disrespectful, doing all this stuff. And if you send me things like this, just know that I will expose it and people will probably find out who you are. So be ready for the backlash, is all I'm saying. So I got a message from this Instagram page called So You Know It's True. But this is not true, by the way. And the message said, "The delusion is unreal. You're nobody, hun. Aspiring," in all caps, "actress. Get it right. Student films and being an extra does not make you an actress any more than girls being IG models make them models. It's all aspiring. Don't embarrass yourself." Now, a couple things. So you know it's true. You're not true. All of these are false information. I don't do student films. And I've done extra work, but that's not all I do. So first of all, the reason why you're coming to me is completely false. And so the reason why I'm saying this is the fact that I know people feel the need to think that, like, everything in our world is beautiful and everything is here, there, our lives are so hard, right? But when you have to wake up every day and get messages like this as a normal person, like, that's not really something that we all want to deal with, right? But it's something that I sit here and do. Now, at the same time, just because I am in front of the camera and because I am accessible to the public does not give you permission to constantly just send messages to me being completely disrespectful and then also think that I'm going to do nothing about it. See, you messed with the wrong one. I'm very, very, very open with my followers and actual supporters about the things that I go through because when you see my journey, nothing about it is easy peasy. And it makes everything that I work for so much better and way worth it. So I want to give a shout out to that person because I think you have to know me personally to come up with any of those information, but have a fake account. So, because you have, based on how you would even know I've done extra work, because I don't post that, obviously. I'm not that, it's to frown upon it, right? I mean, it's a great thing. You get experience, all that stuff, but that's another story for a different day. But I see you. And maybe this is what you want. Maybe you want me to, like, talk about you, but just so you know, you about to have a lot of hate coming your way. Anyways, so that was a quick story time because Priscilla is all about PSAs at the end of the hot seat because it is the hot seat and to sit here is very, very hot and I will put you on blast on this show, whether you're actually a guest or you're just someone on here wants to start some fire. So I'm gonna ignite the flame and pour some gasoline on it and then we're gonna talk about it on the hot seat. But anyway, well, that was today's show. Remember my socks, period. But again, I am your host, Priscilla Moy. Thank you for all the people who actually do share, like, subscribe, comment, and actually support and see actual talent that come in here, actually love to spread love and use social media for good. Because I think that's what we all need to learn is to use it for good instead of hating on people who actually are out here doing something. I would like to see you people take that time and put it into yourself and work on yourself and do things that you want to do because at the end of the day, like, we all want to be happy and that's what we're talking about. Like, unfortunately, there's a lot of people who are very unhappy in this world and put it on other people or put it on themselves and it's a really, really, really sad case that no one likes to see. So anyways, I'm spreading love to all of you, even my haters, and trying to promote on using social media for good. Use it for what it's for, to have fun, to market, to network, to meet people, and to just do great things for yourself and for other people. So as always, I'm your host, Priscilla Moy, and please stay tuned for next week. Woo! So many words, I just keep talking. Next week on the hot seat with Priscilla at Social Media Shows. I will see you then.